I don't think it was ever I just didn't love myself. There were times, obviously, be angry with yourself or frustrated with yourself or thinking, I'm not doing enough. I mean, I can remember my birthdays, to be honest with you, probably up to my 40th birthday, including my 40th birthday. You have a birthday with a 0 on it once you're over past 30, 35, sometimes 5 years on it as well. People look at their life differently culturally. And I used to think it was bullshit. But sure enough, I would do it. And I remember turning 40, and I was really, really unhappy. I was like, Jesus, I've not done enough. I've not helped enough people. I know tens of millions of people at that point already, done all over the earth in 100+ countries at that point, but it was still kind of stuck in my head. So I would earn the love by over-delivering, change somebody's life. Like, I don't get it because somebody says, oh, I love you, Tony. I mean, I appreciate that, or oh, you're the greatest. It's got to be my standard. My standard's higher than their standard for me. Right? So when I get up and someone's going to kill themselves and they're suicidal and boom, turn around and they're no longer not going to kill themselves, but they're transformed, their life is there. That's when I go, okay, now we've hit the center of what I'm made for. Now, I deserve to feel this euphoric feeling within myself and appreciation. And even then, I still know it's God coming through me. I don't have the delusion it's just me. But I think sometime after 40, I finally saw the stupidity of it and I accumulated enough that I looked at life with fresh eyes. And I can say by the time I turned 60 a year ago, I noticed it was interesting because my birthday, I didn't have an ounce of it. I was just like, how could I at this stage of my life when I've had the privilege of serving so many humans in so many contexts, from turning around, guys going to kill themselves with PTSD to helping kids turn around to getting kids off cocaine or adults to, helping people build multi-billion-dollar businesses from nothing. And when I've lived this long, I can't go by without hearing half a dozen stories a day or a dozen stories a day from people telling me how something I did changed their life. So it's not that I'm so smart now, it's just I've stacked it. By the way, though, stacking is the way you can do things. Most of us stack the negative. If you are really angry, it's not usually because it's just the moment. It's that it happened again. It's like if you've ever lost it or overreacted to your kid or to a friend or a business or even within yourself, it's because it happened again. We hit this 1, 2, 3 mini point, and then our nervous system overreacts. But what I've learned is you can stack the good. But for example, if you go into a state of really strong anger for more than 5 minutes, your immune system is suppressed between an hour and a half to 2 hours. That's a physiological fact. When no one had done any study, I started stacking good. Like, okay, let me stack a dozen great memories, feel them, see them, experience them. And I felt this biochemical change that didn't just last a half hour, an hour, or 10 minutes. It went on for a day or two. And so I think I've learned to stack the good. So just having the experience is not enough. You got to stack the good to be able to appreciate it. But I think, just come back to the main point here from my perspective, which could be completely just my perspective. So I want to point that out. I think the more you find unconditional love for others, the easier it is to find in yourself. And I think the focus is serving and loving, and that's what will get you to the point where you start doing it. But if you want to speed it up, stack all the good you've done, you'll feel great about yourself.
The other thing is, I try to convince nobody of anything. I have zero interest in convincing anybody that anything I say is right. Like, zero. Like, people are always like, Gary, how do you convince the clients to do social media? I'm like, I don't. I tell them what I believe. Hopefully they'll do something about it. And if not, then I can't wait to see them in 7 years when I can tell them, I told you so. I really feel like I win either way every time. I really feel like that's what happens. I'll either be historically correct and I'll razz you. All these kids that are not signing with Vayner Sports right now, right? Because me and my brother have this sports agency and we're coming in second a lot because they're enamored, but we're still new, and this agency that's been doing it for 40 years and did it for my favorite player feels like a smarter bet. It's crazy. I love it. There's a thing that came out about Kobe and Dwayne Wade this weekend where Dwayne Wade was talking about how he broke Kobe's nose in an all-star game, and he called him like a day later, and Kobe was like, no, I love it. I love that you broke my nose. And everyone was just talking about how crazy Kobe was, and I was like watching that video, I was like, I so understand that. The only thing I like better than winning a piece of business is losing it. I genuinely enjoy it more.
The key to self-confidence is really simple. And this is absolutely, I've trained hundreds of thousands of people. I've spoken to millions of people around the world. I can tell you this, the self-confident people I know, whether they are athletes, school teachers, mechanics, parents, stay-at-home moms, you name it, they have a pattern of keeping promises they make to themselves. the groundwork of beginning to build self-confidence is to begin to keep the promises you make to you. And that's why it's important to begin to even make small promises. If you're going to get up at a certain time in the morning, not only do it, but then give yourself credit. Say, I did what I said I was going to do. If it's in your diet or your fitness, don't just eat the healthy foods. Go, I'm doing what I said I was going to do. You begin to build this reputation. If you're constantly being influenced and moved by what other people think about you, it means there's a deficiency in what you think about you. And so the key is not some, esoteric like belief system. It's a pattern of keeping the promises that you make to you. That's the groundwork of self-confidence for sure. And it is a pattern. When I meet people that lack confidence, I think, let me serve you. Let's begin to keep the promises you make to you. You're so worried about, there's this addiction to other people's approval in the world, right? It's the greatest addiction today. It used to be drugs. Before that, it was alcohol. There's all these addictions, sex addictions, whatever. The number one addiction in the world today is the addiction to other people's approval. And that's because we don't approve of ourselves. We don't feel a spirit, a universe, a God that we believe in that approves of us. And so my confidence comes from both my faith and in the fact that I keep promises I make to myself. That's the groundwork of all confidence to me.
Think of this for a moment. Do you know that every living soul gets exactly the same amount of time? Exactly the same amount of time. Figure it out. You get all there is. A hobo sleeping under a bridge or on a park bench that has no material possessions, none, does nothing of any constructive nature. That person gets exactly the same amount of time as the most productive industrialist in the world. We all get exactly the same amount of time. So it's what we do with the time that makes a difference. Of the number of time management programs, almost everyone under the sun has time management programs. In fact, I made one time, spent a lot of money on it. And then I found out it was a dumb waste of time and money. Do you know why? Time can't be managed. I was having breakfast with Earl Nightingale one morning, and it was downtown Chicago, and I was going with him on a speaking engagement, and it was early in the morning. He said, "You want to meet for breakfast?" Whenever Earl Nightingale said, "You want to meet me?" I was there, and I always had some well-prepared questions. And I remember asking him, I said, "Earl, how did you learn how to master time management?" You know, we're having breakfast. I can still hear his fork hit the plate. He said, "What the hell are you talking about?" He said, "I've never mastered time management. Nobody masters time management." He said, "Time can't be managed." He said, "I merely manage activity." And he took a little card out of his pocket. And he said, "Every night before I go to bed, I write down 6 most important things I have to do tomorrow. These are goal-achieving activities. And when I wake up, that's what I start working on. And if I don't get them all done, I'll add them to tomorrow's list." You should have about 6. Now, if I have 3 that I didn't get done today, that doesn't mean I have 9 for tomorrow, like 6 plus these 3. Those 3 become part of the 6 you have to do the next day. When you wake up, you give all your conscious attention to do those things. See, you cannot manage time, but you can manage activity. You can manage your activities. Make certain that what you're doing really makes a difference. Make certain that you're spending your time on activities that are productive, that are taking you in the direction of your goal.
This question is from Froso Marinu on YouTube. When your home life is less than desirable, it's not where you want to be living, but you're trying to break out, how do you not let the chaos around you affect your vision and drive? So this is a framing question. So what you want to do, and this Tony Robbins asked this question, I think it's absolutely brilliant. How is the worst thing that ever happened to me the best thing that ever happened to me? So in your circumstance, how is being in a chaotic home life the best thing ever? Now I'll give you one example off the top of my head, and this is exactly why I play first-person shooters. Can you learn to stay calm in the chaos? Because my friend, I have the chills. If you can do that, it will serve you so well in every single area of your life, in a relationship, in business, if you want to be an athlete, if you want to play games, like whatever it is that you do, one of the things that you're going to have to become great at is letting all of the noise drift away into nothing and getting into laser focus on the thing that you're working on. Now, when I give advice like that to people, they think, well, how do I practice? The amazing news is the best thing that has ever happened to you is that you have a built-in way to do that. Your home life is mass chaos. So now you get a chance to practice. I have the chills. You get a chance to practice every day, tuning out the chaos and getting laser focused on something. That's framing. Now, there are other ways, but that one is so powerful that I will end it there. Focus on that. It is practice every day. Thank God you're living in this chaotic environment. Man, congratulations.
I'm going to share a little trick with you and all viewers. You see these pencils here on my desk? I've got these all over the place. I got probably thousands of these. And I have this. This is the lowest tech thing you've ever seen, sticky note. During the day, here's one this morning, I write down things I have to get done. I know it's low tech. There's all kinds of software can do this for you. I don't care. I like pulling a pencil and simply writing down, oh yeah, I got to get that thing done, and just making that note. I learned this from a very successful person years and years ago, my mother. And this note just sits here all day, and at night, if I haven't finished, and usually there's 3 or 4 I haven't done, I look at it and say, okay, tomorrow I will get this done before anything else, before, I go online, before I read anything, I go watch television, before I make any phone calls or texts or anything. I'm gonna get this thing done. And I stick it on the mirror on the right-hand side. Number 1. Record bass line for track 15. All right, so I found a piece of music that I recorded back in '89. I'm working on a documentary about watch dials, which I think you're going to find interesting when I finally get it finished, but it needs the music so the editors can work with the beat of the music. And this thing I recorded in '89 does not have any bass, and I didn't play bass back then. Now I do, so I'm going to go back in the studio and lay down the bass track for track 15. Number 2, reconcile foreign currency. I have investments over in Europe, and each month I reconcile to the currency to figure out how much of the performance was gained or lost by the change in the currency rates. So I want to do that this morning. It's important to get that done for last month because, if you don't have that information, you can't make moves. And number 3, tape questions 4 and 5 for Tax Hive. Tax Hive is a new business I've got involved in as an investor and also as a spokesperson. This is a company that helps small business with their taxes and payrolls, very important in my portfolio companies. So I'm recording some messages, and 4 and 5 have to be done today, so I'm going to go into the studio and record those. Great take. That's the one. Before I do anything else today, these 3 puppies are going to get done. And that is how you get super productive. And you don't let anything distract you. You don't take a phone call, you don't do emails, you don't do anything. You get the things done that you made the priorities the night before. Do it every day. Try it. It's fantastic. Look at this low tech. Low tech. You write it down on a piece of paper, stick it on the mirror. Come on, it works.
The best lesson for me was coming back from what happened. So what happens very often is that there's no way to really feel like, how do you put value on what you're doing? You then only have money is the only barometer of what you're doing. Say, money's like alcohol. It amplifies. It doesn't change you. If someone's an asshole and they drink, they're a giant asshole when they're drunk. If someone's an awesome, funny person, when they drink, they're the life of the party, right? Money's very similar. It's not going to make you anything that you're not, but it'll make you more of what you are.
You want something, but you forget the most important thing, which is know why you want it. Know why you want it.
It's really just using belief to affect reality in a positive way.
Fear is a dangerous obstacle in part because we may fail to admit its existence. Fear needs to be recognized and managed properly, or it becomes an anchor.
And when you can see your life as a long journey and that you know what it demands, then you'll stay the course.
And my point is take accountability for your actions. You can take all the credit in the world for the things that you do right, as long as you also take responsibility for the things you do wrong. It must be a balanced equation. You don't get it one way and not the other. You get to take credit, when you also take accountability.